The latest newsletter for space engineers has just dropped, and it contains some very interesting information pertaining to the future of space engineers. Along with that, we also have to discuss some comments made on the latest Space Engineers developer livestream regarding the possibility of extraterrestrial life in the game. So, without further ado, let's take a look. Here you can see a section from the latest Keen Software House newsletter, which contains a sneak peek at an update coming to Space Engineers later this year. It says, in the upcoming 1.205 update, we are adding a set of new Prototech blocks to Space Engineers. These blocks are unique and powerful endgame blocks that will be part of the free content in the 1.205 update. And there's an emphasis on free content. In the video below, you can see a little sneak peek at one of these blocks. Stay tuned for more information regarding Prototech and PvE content in the next newsletter. Below this text, as it says, there is a video that we'll be looking at in a minute. In a previous video on this channel, I covered our first look at these new Prototech blocks, which you can see on screen here. The one on the left we believe is a Prototech assembler, as those words line up with this blurred out text here. The one on the right is a Prototech large ion thruster, again based on this blurred out text here. With that in mind, let's take a look at the video mentioned in this teaser. As you can see, after we fade from black, we have a room with some blocks in it. And oh, it's done. But don't worry, there is so much more to this teaser than this dark 8-second video. Let me explain. To start with, computer, enhance. Good, now we can get a better look at what is being shown in this video. Like the comment above this video says, this teaser only appears to show us one new block, and we can assume, based on that text, that it is a Prototech block. But what Prototech block is it? It does look similar to our Prototech ion thruster from the previous teaser, but some details don't match up. There is a spherical part on the top of the block here, but our Prototech ion thruster is spherical all the way around, with a cuboid part on the back, and this does not match the profile of this block here. It's also definitely not our Prototech assembly either, meaning it's a block we haven't seen before. Aside from its shape, the only other noticeable detail on this block is that it has a terminal on it over here. Judging by this terminal, we can probably assume that it's not a thruster, as all the thrusters currently in the game do not have terminals. So, we're looking for a different block that potentially has some spherical elements as part of it. Now, I'm not a betting man, however, if I was, I would say that this block is probably a Prototech H2O2 generator. Wait, it's called an O2H2 generator? That doesn't sound right. Who decided it was that way around? Anyway, the vanilla O2H2 generator has this, I guess, tank or electrolysis unit inside of it, and my guess is that this here is a larger version of that. Alternatively, this block could be an upgraded version of my most hated block in the game, the hydrogen engine. I'm not as certain about this idea as I am of the idea of it being an O2H2 generator, but it kinda has the same profile as the hydrogen engine. You know, if you squint when you're looking at it, or, you know, if that doesn't work for you, close your eyes, and then it looks exactly the same. However, it might not be either of the things I've just mentioned, as there's one important detail I've neglected to mention until now. If we take a look below this video, oops, that's the wrong place, silly me. I accidentally went over to the subscribe button. How silly of me, I guess I just did it automatically. I just like and subscribe to every video I look at. Just like you should. Anyway, what I instead meant to do was to go over to here, the title of the video. Okay, what the heck does industrial espionage mean? Like, I know what it means, but what does that have to do with space engineers? That is the craziest set of words I've ever seen related to the game. Industrial espionage in base game space engineers? What the heck does that mean? And what the heck is this block? And better question, where the heck is this? Okay. Let's take a step back. Let's answer the first question. Industrial espionage. What does this mean? First of all, Prototech. As I discussed in my last video, proto means original or primitive, or first or earliest, and tech is short for technology. But if we follow in that vein, what if Prototech was actually short for prototype? Prototech, prototype technology. And whilst we're defining what things mean, industrial espionage means the illegal or unethical theft of business trade secrets for use by a competitor to achieve a competitive advantage. We know that this update focuses on exploration, and in the last video, I assumed that we would find these blocks out in the world abandoned. But what if it's not just about finding them? What if it's about stealing them? What if one of the factions within Space Engineers' lore is building experimental prototype superblocks, and then we, as the player, have to steal them from said faction? That would fit the industrial espionage title of this video, but what if there's more to it? So, second question, what is this block? It could also be potentially related to the industrial espionage title of the video. Perhaps it's some kind of block that allows you to steal ships, like a hacking device that overrides the ownership of blocks. It could still be a prototype block, just a new prototype hacking tool instead. An endgame block that helps you steal ships and blocks, rather than having to grind them down like you currently do. Currently, gaining ownership of hostile blocks and grids is a massive pain, and if we have to go out in the world and find these Prototech blocks and steal them from factions, it will be really difficult to take ownership of them. I'm sure most of us have been there. We've captured an enemy ship, we've brought it back to our base, and then suddenly all the turrets on our base come to life and obliterate the ship we've just captured. So maybe having a way to actually steal these blocks is part of this update. Okay, third question. Where is this? There are two possibilities based on what we've discussed. Either A, if this block is a new advanced prototype block, it will be on a ship or base belonging to a non-player faction, existing with the intention for a player to come along and commit some crimes and steal this Prototech block from them. Or B, this is still a ship or base belonging to a non-player faction, and the Prototech block over here is being used to hack into it and take it over. Perhaps, maybe, you need to hack the secrets of Prototech blocks from hostile factions' databases before you're able to build your own. All of these ideas sound very industrial espionage-y to me, although personally, I'm leaning more towards the first idea, mainly because I don't think they would add a Prototech block that can hack grids, but then again, the industrial espionage title is a bit weird. However, in discussing all of this, I have figured out the answer to the most important question of all. I think I know what Prototech really is. In my last video on the topic of updates and Prototech, I made the suggestion that Prototech was advanced technology created by an ancient proto-civilization many years ago. I read every single comment left on my videos. If you don't believe me, write anything in the comments, and I promise you I will give you a cookie in exchange. Many people in the comments of my last video made the suggestion that Prototech actually refers to prototype technology, which, as I mentioned in this video earlier, I believe to be partially true. However, I came to the conclusion that Prototech refers to a proto-civilization's technology due to three main things. Firstly, due to the word Prototech. Quite simply, prototype means prototype. If they wanted to tell us that these new blocks were prototype blocks, why not just call them prototype blocks? The fact that they've invented a new word to describe them indicates that it's not as simple as them being prototype blocks. Secondly, Prototech panels. Prototech panels are mentioned in the last teaser, in this line here on a datapad. The crew, upon reaching an unnamed asteroid, reported visuals on 2 Prototech panels. If Prototech refers to prototypes, what is a prototype panel? Like a panel that is the first draft? I'd just like to say that all of these are rhetorical questions, you don't need to answer them. I will be answering them for you in a second. Thirdly, at the bottom of the datapad in the teaser, it says, and perhaps, most distressingly, no presence of name redacted at all. I've been thinking about who name redacted could be for the past month, and I've come to the conclusion, unless this is something entirely new that we haven't seen before, there is only one person or groups of persons that this can be. The ROS. Results Oriented Sciences, or ROS for short, are a faction within Space Engineers who appear in all 3 of the game's story scenarios and are functionally the antagonists of all 3 of them. In 2 of the scenarios, they are directly involved with, or are mentioned to have an interest in, both the monolith and the stereolith, 2 ancient relics created by a proto-civilization that exist on the Moon and the Earth-like planets within Space Engineers. If you want to know more about the monolith and stereolith, I've done a video about them, which is linked on the card in the top right. My point of all of this is I'm saying that it's both. Prototech is prototype technology built and developed using technology from the monolith and the stereolith. During the first jump scenario, the ROS had the monolith under their control for an unknown amount of time. Possibly, during this time, they were able to gather some information from it. Perhaps the monolith and stereolith are Prototech panels. I could definitely see a world where these are described as panels, as they are just big lines of metal. And considering the title of this teaser video is Industrial Espionage, which means the illegal or unethical theft of business and trade secrets, it would make sense for us to be stealing those Prototech blocks from the only business within the game known for pushing the boundaries of science. Or, you know, I could be completely wrong. I could be reading into it too much. Maybe it's all much simpler than I'm giving it credit for. Or maybe, just maybe, I hold another secret that could confirm everything I've just said. Every Friday, Zockley, the community manager for Space Engineers, goes live on YouTube and Twitch to answer community questions and take a look at community-created mods and ships. Last Friday, or I guess 2 Fridays ago when this video is live, some GigaChad Zero's Legion fan, who definitely likes and subscribes every video, asked Zockley if there was going to be more story for the aliens in Space Engineers now that the monolith and stereolith have been decoded. As mentioned earlier, you can check out my video on the monolith and stereolith here, but the basic gist is that there are characters on the side of the monolith and stereolith that were only decoded a couple of weeks ago. And Zockley's reply to this information is very interesting. He doesn't confirm or deny anything, probably because the keen snipers are outside his house just in case he's about to, but he does say, with a very sly smile on his face might I add, that the fact that it's been solved now is very interesting. He talked about it for a good while without saying very much relating to the solution, but the way he answered the question was very coy, and if you know Zockley, he's always trying to make sure that he doesn't give too much away. I feel like, due to the way he acted, based on watching many Space Engineers livestreams with Zockley in the past, he knows something he wants to tell us but cannot say. I've uploaded the full clip of him talking about the stereolith solution on my second channel, which I will link in the description of this video, so make sure to watch it so you can come to your own conclusions. And, speaking of conclusions, what do you think Prototech is? Do you think I'm right? Or do you think I've completely lost it? And, what do you think this block is in the teaser clip? Let me know with a comment below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel to keep up to date with the future of Space Engineers. A special thanks to the Whisk Man, Hamish Drowner, the Wildcat, Tarantula Fudge, and Summit. If you'd like to support this channel, you can become a YouTube member or a patron with the links below this video.